You know, guys, sometimes I feel like you guys don't appreciate me a lot, man, because the kind of content that I subject myself to bring these videos to you guys, we subject ourselves to such a horrific content only for us to make these videos for you guys. So I really hope that you guys can see that I love you so much that I can subject myself to this garbage content so that I can make these videos for you. Today I want us to look at Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, if you don't know, she is the Minister of Women, she is the Minister of People with Disabilities, and she's also the Minister of Youth. Man, can you believe that a 74-year-old woman who needs help herself, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma is a magogo by now. She's a magogo by now. I'm sure she needs help at her house or something, but for some reason, President Ramaphosa thought that this woman is perfect to serve as the Minister of Women and as the Minister of People with Disabilities. And the one post that really hurt me, guys, as a South African, as a young person in this country, is the fact that Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma is 74-year-old magogo. She is the Minister of Youth in this country. Man, there is nothing, there is absolutely nothing that young people can learn from Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma at this particular moment. There is nothing that young people in this country can learn from a 74-year-old woman. There is nothing that we can learn from her, man. There is nothing that we can learn from Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. There is nothing that Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma can tell you about the metaverse. There is nothing that she can tell you about the artificial intelligence. And there is nothing that she can tell you about all the technological advances that have been made throughout the world. But for some reason, the African National Congress and the President Ramaphosa believes that this woman is perfect to serve as the Minister of Young People in this country. Man, can you believe that a 74-year-old woman is serving as the Minister of Young People in this country? She's also serving as the Minister of People with Disabilities. Man, can you believe a 74-year-old magogo? I'm sure that Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma has a few helpers around at her home, but for some reason they believe that she's fit to serve as the Minister for People with Disabilities and to serve as Minister for women. Man, there's nothing that this magogo has done for women in this country. Man, women in this country are being subjected to horrific killings. Women are being killed, women are being abused, women are being objectified. Man, there's a lot that has been happening right now in the country. Man, there's our women right now in our country. We cannot even communicate with women right now in our country because as soon as you start talking to a female right now, they start looking at you sideways, mainly because right now women are being abducted, women are being killed, women are being, like, guys, there's a lot that has been happening right now in our country, and we know that women and children are the biggest victims right now in the country. But for some reason, for some reason, President Ramaphosa and the African National Congress believes that the women in this country, they deserve Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma as their minister. The young people in this country, they deserve Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma as their minister. People with disabilities in this country, they deserve Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma as their minister. Guys, I want you to take this information and absorb it, man. And all of these responsibilities are bared on a 74-year-old woman. All these responsibilities are to be executed by a 74-year-old woman. That's a kind of nonsense that we find ourselves in as South Africa. So, guys, recently Eyewitness News did a weird interview with Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. I don't even know, guys, who's the name of this lady, because this lady has to be the worst interviewer of all time. She has to be. I swear to God, she has to be the worst interviewer of all time. And on this interview, they were talking about Palapala. They were talking about President Ramaphosa and the state of our country. Guys, I want you to listen to the Minister of Women, the Minister of People with Disabilities, and also the Minister of Youth to talk about these things. Man, I feel sorry for South Africans. I'm telling you, I feel sorry for South Africans, and I feel sorry for our country as a whole.
Hello, welcome to Politricky. My name is Tsidi Madia. I've been saying to you, this is a month where I want to look at particular women. I want to celebrate particular women. I think the Women's 1956 March is something we should never, ever, ever forget. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And so, yeah, I'm continuing with those conversations. This week, I'm joined now by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. She is the Minister in the Presidency for Women, Persons with Disabilities, and there's something I'm forgetting.
Youth.
And yeah, how did I forget youth? And youth. Thank you so much.
But guys, we are such a joke, man. Our country is a joke, man. Just like, can you imagine, guys, a 74-year-old woman? She is the Minister of Youth, man. She's the Minister of Youth, man. You have to understand and you have to remember that the African National Congress, they have a youth league structure. Man, what was so hard for President Ramaphosa to pick one of those buffoons there and make them a Minister of Youth, man? But instead, Ramaphosa chose a 74-year-old woman, a 74-year-old Magogo to be the Minister of Youth. Man, I feel so insulted as a young person in this country. And I know women in this country feel so insulted. And people with disabilities, man, they must feel so insulted to have this person as their minister. Man, there is nothing that this woman can do for us right now. The only thing that Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma must do is to go back home and play with her grandchildren, man. Man, there's nothing that she can do for us right now at this particular time. But for some reason, President Ramaphosa and the African National Congress believes that this woman is perfect to serve as the Minister of Youth, the Minister of People with Disabilities, and the Minister of Women. Man, I cannot believe it. Every time when I see this woman, man, this one, like, it has, like, this one thing traumatized me. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma and President Ramaphosa. Man, these guys, they have traumatized me, man. And this shows that young people, man, in this country, they don't care about anything that has been happening in our country. The fact that we can sit still and say nothing when we have a 74-year-old woman, a 74-year-old clueless woman as a minister of young people in this country, and there's no outrage, there's nothing. South African young people are focusing on drinking, they're focusing on drugs. That's what they're focusing on. Man, our country is going on a slippery slope, and it looks like right now there's nothing that we can do. It looks like we have to prepare ourselves for that bounce that South Africa has to make. We have to prepare ourselves for that bounce that South Africa has to take, because young people in this country right now, they are not even ready to save this country, man.
For your time, Minister.
Women, youth, and persons with disabilities.
Or is that how we say it?
Yes.
Women, youth, and persons with disabilities. She's in charge of that ministry. Thank you so much for your time, Ma. The legacy of your work on tobacco remains very strong in the country, so that's a very good example to lean back on. There are questions that people have about you being in the specific department, or rather, you serving in President Ramaphosa's cabinet. Some have made remarks that towards the end of last year, you sounded like somebody who had no faith in his capabilities as a leader, yet you take up the opportunity to come back and serve under him. Why?
This country needs people to serve the country. The people of this country need service. I'm serving the people.
Do you regret standing up?
And he has given me that opportunity to serve the people. I'm not serving him. He has appointed me to serve the people. And that's what I'm doing.
And man, like, just imagine, man, if you were to be appointed as the minister of anything in this country, man, it's easy salary, man. These guys are doing absolutely nothing. You can see how our country is crumbling. You can see the crime rate is up, the unemployment rate is up. Kids are still dying in our pit toilets. Our infrastructure is a mess. Our healthcare system is a mess, man. Being appointed as a minister, man, it is a free money for these guys at the African National Congress. There is nothing that these guys are doing there at the African National Congress. So for her to come out and say that she's saving the people, what is it exactly that she has done for people? What is it that she has done for women in this country? What is it that she has done for people with disabilities? I don't even want to mention young people in this country, because right now we have young people, 60% of them in this country are not working. 60% of young people in this country are not working. Most of them are educated and are able to work. So I don't even want to touch on the fact that you are the Minister of Youth, but I also want to look at the fact that you are also the Minister of Women and People with Disabilities, and there's absolutely nothing that you have done. Just like the Minister of Home Affairs, just like the Minister of Health, just like the Minister of Police, there's nothing that you guys are doing there at African National Congress. So being a minister, it's like free cash. It's free cash for everybody. So I don't believe that you are saving the people. You are not doing. You are doing absolutely fuck all for people. You are not doing anything for the people of this country, man. Let's get that clear.
Do you regret standing up in Parliament last year, calling for the report on the Phala matter to be adopted in Parliament? Do you regret that decision?
Why should I regret? It was my decision.
Of course, she doesn't regret, man. You have to understand that this woman was fighting with Ramaphosa to become the president of African National Congress. This woman has been bitter ever since Ramaphosa defeated her, man, in Nasrec. She's been bitter ever since. She never healed. She never healed. That's why she's doing everything in her power to make sure that Ramaphosa understands that she's against him. She's doing everything to make sure that the African National Congress understands that she's not supporting President Ramaphosa. And it is going to be so interesting to see how the ANC disciplinary committee is going to deal with Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. It is going to be so interesting because I feel like those guys there at the African National Congress disciplinary hearing, the African National Congress disciplinary commission, guys, these guys, if there's one body in this country, if there's one body in this political landscape that has no credibility whatsoever, it has to be those guys there at the African National Congress disciplinary committee. Man, these guys, if they had any sort of credibility, half of the members there at the African National Congress would be expelled right now. Just like I said, if the ANC disciplinary committee had any credibility, half of the people there in the African National Congress would be expelled. You can see how the comrades are doing. You can see, guys, we live in the townships, so we know how comrades are living. These guys are basically doing nothing. They are doing nothing, but they are driving all these luxurious cars and they do nothing. So being a member of the African National Congress and serving under the ANC, man, has become a shame. Looking at what the party was started for, looking at the policies that the party was pushing for, looking at the legacy of the African National Congress, and you look at the African National Congress today in 2023, man, it is a shame what the party has become.
And then I want to move now. I don't think there's a reason why you should regret it. I want to move now to issues of, actually, let me stay with that for a little bit. Are there no concerns of repercussions on the ANC's part? There was a period where it said it wanted to take action against those who defied the organization in that moment, because there was a decision, a party line that was due to be followed.
Well, ask the people who are leading the ANC who said that. I didn't say it.
Are you not worried that there might be repercussions on your end?
Well, if you take a decision and you believe that you are right and your conscience is clear about it, you would be willing to take whatever comes.
Minister, have you heard of anything called the Moonshot Pact?
Guys, do you agree that this woman right here, do you agree that this woman is the worst interviewer of all times, man? Can you believe, do you agree with me? At least, please, guys, tell me that you agree with me that this woman is the worst interviewer of all times. Please. And what's her name, guys? Please tell me on the comment section. What is her name?
The Moonshot Pact.
I saw it in the media.
What are your thoughts about that? Hearing opposition parties wanting to come together. And funny enough, we spoke about the CODESA talks. You took me back to CODESA. They want to have something like a CODESA this week in order to set the country on a different pathway. What are your thoughts? I mean, they have gone all the way to picking Empress Palace, which is where the CODESA talks took place.
Well, I come from the governing party. They are called the opposition. So they are duty.
They're doing their job.
They are opposing. So we should just try and do the right thing as the governing party. They will always oppose. They will always oppose. That's why they're called the opposition.
It's their job. Are you worried about the ANC's prospects in 2024?
Well, of course, every election brings some anxiety about whether you're going to do well or not. And obviously, as the ANC, we should be trying to put our best foot forward in terms of delivering services to the electorate. We should be trying to be real servants of the people so that they could see that we are serving them.
Man, I have to tell you, man, the African National Congress is not even worried about 2020, about 2024. The African National Congress is not worried. So if you think that the African National Congress is worried about losing the election in 2023, man, in 2024, you are sadly mistaken, man. You are sadly mistaken. I've said this and I'm going to say it again, man. The opposition parties in the country right now, they are not ready to take the fight from the African National Congress. They are not ready to get their hands dirty, man. You know that the African National Congress, you've heard what the African National Congress is saying, that the people in this country, they must judge them on based from what they have done since 1994. The people must not focus on these 5 wasted years of Ramaphosa. People must focus on what the African National Congress has done for them since 1994. So I know a lot of people in this country, a lot of sophisticated people in this country, which are not many, are going to disagree with the African National Congress. They are going to judge the African National Congress based on these 5 years of Ramaphosa. But the majority of South Africans in this country, people who are poor, people who are depending on the African National Congress for the house, or for the electricity, and for everything, for the grants, they're going to listen to the African National Congress. And when the ANC goes to the people, goes to on the grassroots and tell the people that, guys, you have houses today, you have electricity, you have water, and you have grants, you have kids, we are taking care of your kids, you are not working, and we are also taking care of you by giving you the 350 grants. These messages are going to resonate with the people. So there's nothing that the opposition in right now in our country that they have done to show that they want to take the fight from the African National Congress. Men, if they think that they are going to take the fight from the African National Congress by doing these conventions, by doing these conferences there in the Sandton Convention Center, they must think again. If you think that your opposition party that is going to take down the African National Congress from the conference in Sandton Convention Center, you must think again. These political parties, especially the opposition parties, man, they are not ready to take the African National Congress. They are not ready, man, to take the African National Congress head on. I've heard people saying that, no, the African National Congress is going to lose in 2024. Man, you are sadly mistaken. The African National Congress has started to remind the people of South Africa what they have done for them. And whether you like it or not, the majority of voters in this country, who are poor people in this country, they are going to listen to what the African National Congress is going to tell them. So the ANC is not particularly worried about 2024. People are making this hoo-ha about ANC being worried, ANC panicking about losing the elections in 2024. The truth of the matter is that the opposition parties in this country, they haven't convinced the people that they are the alternatives of the African National Congress. They haven't proven to the people of this country that, okay guys, if you no longer want to vote for the African National Congress, you can come and vote for us. So the African National Congress is still going to get majority of the votes in 2024 unless these opposition parties are ready to get their hands dirty, unless if they are ready to come to the grassroots, to come to the townships, to speak to the people, to do the in-business, and to open up a dialogue with our people. So before they get to that point, man, they are not ready to take the fight from the African National Congress. So don't be mistaken by the mainstream media. Don't be mistaken by Twitter. Twitter is only used by I think 6% of the people in the country. Facebook is not used by a lot of people in this country. A lot of people in this country, they cannot afford the internet. They cannot afford to be on YouTube just like us right now. They cannot afford to interact with others on social media, mainly because they cannot afford data. They don't have internet where they live. So mainly or most of them, they depend on the African National Congress for almost everything. So if you think that the noise that has been made by the mainstream media, or the noise that people are making there on Twitter or Facebook is going to result in anything, you are sadly mistaken, man. The people of South Africa are still going to vote for the African National Congress. If you think that your opposition party is going to take the fight from the African National Congress from the Sandton Convention Center, you must think again, guys. You must think again, man. The African National Congress is not worried about losing the elections. I'm going to tell you guys this thing over and over again, because you think that rhetoric is going to resonate with the people of South Africa, but you know that right now the African National Congress is telling the people to judge them based on what they have done since 1994, not these 5 wasted years of Ramaphosa. And if you think that message is not going to resonate with the people of South Africa, who are depending on African National Congress for the RDP houses, they're depending on the African National Congress for the water, they are depending on the ANC for electricity, they are depending on the ANC for the grants. If you think that these people are simply going to vote out the ANC because you say that the ANC is corrupt, man, you must think again. I'm telling you. I'm telling you guys, you must think again. If you think that rhetoric is going to be sufficient to take out the African National Congress in 2024, you must think again. This is the reason why I say that these opposition parties are not ready. They're not ready. They're not remotely ready to fight the African National Congress. They're not. They're not. The truth has to be told, man. These opposition parties are not ready to take the fight from the African National Congress. They're not. This is the reason why right now the DA and the EFF are fighting each other, because they know that whoever does good between the EFF and the DA has there's a potential to go into coalition with the African National Congress. They know, the DA and the EFF, they know that the African National Congress are still going to get the majority of the votes in 2024. So because they want the power, the DA and the EFF, they're going to have to fight each other off. They're going to have to fight each other off, man. The ANC is just sitting there chilling, watching all these guys fighting each other off to help them govern the country. Opposition parties are not ready, man. Guys, I'm warning you, the opposition parties are not ready to take the African National Congress, man. With so many political parties, these guys are not ready, man. You look at Mzima Imani and you look at Herman Mashaba, they've opened two separate political parties. But these political parties, they have the same mandate, they have the same values and everything. What was so hard for Mzima Imani and Herman Mashaba to come together and open up a one political party? What was so hard for Herman Mashaba, Mzima Imani and Bongani Baloyi to open up a political party? What was so hard for Kalnihas and Isma Khashule and what's this guy of ATM? Zungula to come together and open up a political party? It's because of these guys, they want power, man. They don't care. They don't care about taking they don't care about the fact that the African National Congress is still popular right now in the country, but everyone wants a seat in parliament. You look at these opposition parties, many of them are popping out of nowhere. Many of them are mushrooming out of nowhere. Many of them have similar policies. They have similar policies and values, but for some reason they are open. They're like right now you have Shiluva under Bongani Baloyi, you have Build One South Africa under Mzima Imani, you have Action SA under Herman Mashaba, you have UIM under, I think, Neil de Beer. Man, these parties, they have the same policies and the same values. There's no need for us to have four parties when we can have one. Why? It's because these guys, they don't want to be led. Most of them, they don't want to be led. They are not leaders. They are not the servants of this country. They believe that they are the leaders. They are not the servants. This is the reason why ANC will still be popular. This is the reason why the ANC is still popular right now. This is the reason why the South Africans are not going to vote. Man, I don't think that South Africans are going to vote for Build One South Africa or United Independent Movement or Action SA to take out the African National Congress. You can forget. Forget. These opposition parties, they're not ready to get their hands dirty, man. They're not ready to serve, man. They're not ready to serve. They're not. They're not ready to serve. So going on mainstream media and spewing out rhetoric is nothing, man. If you really want to take the fight from the African National Congress, you must come to these people. We must come to average South Africans in our townships, man. Come and see how people live in our townships. Come and see that our townships have turned into illegal dumpings. Come and see the sewages that is spilling all over our townships. Come and talk to the people. But if you think that doing the interviews there with the ENCA, doing the interviews with the Newsroom Africa is going to cut it, it is not. It is not. So guys, if you don't like the African National Congress and you have a certain political party that you like, you must really be honest about the work that they are doing. And be honest about the fact that, do you think that these guys, in 7 months, they can take out the African National Congress? Do you honestly believe that your favorite political party besides the ANC can take out the ANC from power? Do you honestly believe that they have done enough to take the ANC from power? Honestly. I'm warning you guys. I'm warning you. I'm telling you. I'm warning you guys. I love you guys. I'm warning you. I'm doing these videos because I love you guys and I'm warning you. I'm trying to warn you. I'm trying to make you understand that taking the fight from the African National Congress is going to take more than rhetoric, man. Taking the fight from African National Congress is going to take more than the conferences there at the Central Convention Center. It's going to take more than that. It's going to take more than the tweets. It's going to take more than the post. You're going to have to come to the people here in the grassroots. If you are not prepared to come to the grassroots and talk to the people and convince the people that the African National Congress is not for them, that you haven't done enough. This is the reason why I'm asking you guys, you look at your favorite political party or the party that you are looking to vote for in 2024, do you believe that that party has done enough to remove the ANC from power? Do you believe that the Moonpeg shot is sufficient to move the ANC from power? Do you believe that the EFF will take the ANC from power? Do you believe that they have done enough to convince the South Africans not to vote for the African National Congress? That is the question I have for you guys.
And that way, we can ensure that they trust us and they give us another opportunity. Because if we show our best foot forward, if we show all of us who are in positions to serve the people, we show that we are real servants of the people, then we should have the opportunity we will have an opportunity to win.
Okay,
for me, it's in our hands. It's what we do.
Former President Jacob Zuma was given a remittance of sentence a few weeks ago.
I mean, like, guys, this woman who's doing the interview, she's not pushing back. She's not doing nothing. She's not pushing back. She's not doing nothing. Man, shame on Eyewitness News, man. Shame on Eyewitness News for conducting such a bullshit interview. She's not even pushing back or nothing. She's not even sitting, like, man, how can you allow Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma to talk about service delivery when you know that the ANC hasn't provided people of South Africans with service delivery for 30 years? How can you allow her to sit there and tell you that if we provide people with service delivery, maybe then the people can vote for us? I mean, why are you not pushing back on that, man? You haven't done that for the people, man. And doing this right now, it's pretense. So the ANC coming to your neighborhoods to start cleaning up your... Like, man, it's pretense. They don't care. They don't care. This is the reason why I told people that the service delivery and load shedding will never be the factors in 2024. Don't believe that. Service delivery and load shedding will never be the factors. South Africans, they don't care about the fact that they don't get any service delivery. South Africans, they don't care about load shedding. South Africans have gotten used to load shedding. So load shedding and service delivery, man, are not going to be any factors in 2024. Why? Because South Africans have proven it that service delivery means nothing to them. Because throughout the years, South Africans have managed to vote for the African National Congress despite their lack of service delivery. So if you think that load shedding is going to be a factor in 2024, well, the African National Congress is going to get the load shedding under control of maybe for like 2 or 3 months before the elections. And guess what? The opposition parties cannot run on load shedding when everyone has electricity. The opposition parties cannot run on load shedding when everyone has electricity, man. If the African National Congress gets load shedding in control of maybe for like 2 months, it's done. It's done. It's done. So don't believe that service delivery and load shedding are going to be the factor in 2024. Don't believe that South Africans are going to vote because we don't have service delivery and we basically do not have electricity. Don't think that. Don't be mistaken, man.
By and large, to many of us, that was the correct political solution to be taken by the governing party, by the state, if you may, whichever way you want to put it. That actually, no, let me rephrase that question. He was given remittance, no? What is special remissions? Yes, by the president. Your thoughts on that? Let me first ask about that. Where there's an order for him to return to prison, and then he's given special remission. Generally, some of us feel that was the right decision. that though it is a legal issue, a political solution should have been sought. What are your thoughts on that? Would have been best if we visited that vision the first time around in 2021.
You know, I don't believe so much in dwelling on something you can't change. Something that has happened you can't change, but you can change what you do today and tomorrow. And I think the President, the Minister of Justice did well this time.
This time?
Yes.
But this is not a matter that's going to leave us alone, because there's still an issue around the arms deal. Do you think they need to apply a similar sense of logic about the future?
That's not my space.
Guys, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for subjecting you to such a nonsensical interview, but I just wanted you guys to hear where Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma is and what she's thinking. And I also wanted to warn people who think that it's going to be so easy to take out the ANC in 2024. So guys, please tell me, what are your thoughts tell me on the comment section, and don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.